Okay, now that we've finished our basket freezer paper applique piece, I've put these 3 freezer paper templates on top of my basket. It's going to be a reverse applique method that I'm going to show you. The reverse applique is where I cut away these shapes and expose the underneath behind the basket. And this particular one, I show the background fabric, and in this basket I have put this dark brown on the back, and so when I cut away my reverse applique, you're going to see the brown underneath the basket. Now that the basket has been stitched into place, remember we traced out these templates from the freezer paper and marked them onto the basket top. And this is going to be a reverse applique method I'm going to show you. It actually exposes that brown that I put on the underside of this basket fabric. So I poked a little hole into my top fabric, and if you can see the lines here, I'm going to do the middle one first. You don't need to go in any certain order. I'm just picking the middle one because I did. So go ahead and put your scissor in and make sure that you're not cutting through the 2 layers. We have the background layer and we have that brown solid fabric which is behind the basket. I just want to expose that brown solid fabric. So I'm gently cutting a little hole, and I'm going to slit this right up almost to the top of my drawn line and almost to the bottom. Then I'm going to go ahead and come across, take a little diagonal cut on both sides. I want to leave about 1/4 inch of fabric inside the drawn line, and that is what I'm going to use to fold under. So I'm going to cut away everything else. Coming down, just stop about 1/4 inch from the bottom and cut across. So I can take that piece off. You can see I've exposed this dark brown underneath, and I'm going to go back up. So I'm just leaving about 1/4 inch. Here I've just cut away the top fabric enough to expose the background fabric, and leaving 1/4 inch so I can turn this under. I'm going to go in and clip almost to that corner of my drawn rectangle, and down here I'll do the same so I can turn the edge when I get to that point. That's how you begin your reverse applique. Get that prepared. I'm not going to start at the corner. I'm going to start just ahead of the corner. I've got my needle ready, but before I get to the needle, I'm going to go ahead and finger press. That just helps create a memory, so when I am actually stitching it, it will turn under a little easier. And right there, I'm going to clip a little closer to that drawn edge, but for right now, I'm just going to leave it like that and continue just following that line and gently creating a little finger pressed edge. There's many beautiful applique pieces that are Baltimore applique pieces and much more precise. This is a good beginning applique project to start because you're going to learn a lot of techniques, and they're big and easy to work with. I'm going to start just above the corner and slide my needle under. Now you're going to see some of this blue water-soluble marking, and that's why I use a water-soluble marking, because after this is finished I can go ahead and just dab it with some water and it will come off. Now remember, you don't want to heat set this blue pen mark because then you've set it into the fabric. I'm going to come up underneath the bottom on the fold just like I do my normal applique. I'm going to go ahead and just cut this a little bit more and turn this under. And that needle really helps turn this edge under, which I like. But finger pressing is essential because it'll make it so much easier. So as I get close to the corner, I'm going to go ahead and turn under this bottom edge and slide my needle under. I'll want to take a couple stitches. And you can see this little bit of fraying coming up here. You can always use a little bit of fray check underneath before you start stitching, and that will help keep those threads underneath. When I'm using a dark thread for my applique, that will also hide that. You won't see what I just stitched here, which looks kind of sloppy because it's in a light color. And once that corner is secure, just go ahead and continue stitching across the bottom. The reverse applique can be used for a lot of different things. I mean, just think about if you want to expose a different fabric underneath. It's kind of a cool alternative to just layering.